Back when Buffalo covered the prairies, I was assigned to cover Ronald Reagan's first bid for the Republican presidential nomination, the one he narrowly lost to President Gerald Ford. My most enduring memory of those months, aside from the time Reagan told me the worst thing about running for president was that his swimming pool went to hell, was listening to his stump speech over and over and over again. Reagan worked from index cards and he'd shuffle them around so the speech didn't come out the same each time. But there was a point in every speech where he'd talk about meeting returning prisoners of war from Vietnam. And every time he told that story, every time, his voice would crack and he'd start to tear up. Okay, he was a trained actor, but it was effective. His policies were disastrous to millions of people, and he didn't care for most personal interactions. But he liked to read his mail, and sometimes he'd send a personal check, $100 or so, to people with sad stories. He didn't wait 4 months to mail them. He kept his empathy in check, but he was good at expressing warmth on stage. This was helpful when he had to perform the console-and-shift role at times of national grief. Most memorable was his speech when the Space Shuttle Challenger blew up in 1986, killing its 7 crew members. With the help of speechwriter Peggy Noonan and John Gillespie Magee's poem High Flight, Reagan hit all the right chords. We will never forget them, nor the last time we saw them, this morning, as they prepared for their journey and waved goodbye and slipped the surly bonds of earth to touch the face of God. Now, as the nation considers whether President Donald Trump is capable of empathy, consider what Trump might have said in the same circumstances. Well, they knew what they signed up for, or maybe, in consoling phone calls, he would have promised each of the astronauts' families $25,000, as he did to the father of a soldier killed in Afghanistan in June. Nothing says I care like 25 large. Right, he mailed a check last week when the story of his unfulfilled promise leaked. Noted Trump whisperer Christopher Ruddy defended his pal after Trump's bloodless trip to hurricane-ravaged Puerto Rico this month. I think he's an old-school John Wayne type guy who doesn't like to wear emotions on his shirt sleeves, said Ruddy, the chairman of Newsmax, a conservative news site. He doesn't cry in public and he doesn't like men who do. It's not a lack of empathy. See, it's a surfeit of manliness. Trump's shortcomings on the empathy scale have been known for a long time. In 1997, the journalist Mark Singer memorably profiled the real estate tycoon in The New Yorker and concluded that Trump had aspired to and achieved the ultimate luxury, an existence unmolested by the rumbling of a soul. But now that helps president, the empathy question is a big deal. Americans have come to expect the president to embody what they feel at times of national shock. 3 of the 4 presidents between Reagan and Trump were pretty good at it, and one, Bill Clinton, was Oprah-esque. Trump's seeming inability to care about anyone other than himself is one reason why many mental health professionals are ignoring ethical standards that say they shouldn't comment on someone they haven't personally dealt with. They say they have a duty to warn. Lesser mortals, like journalists, are bewildered by Trump's ceaseless lying about things that are easily disproved, his gnat-like attention span, his anger and sense of grievance, his policy flip-flops, and yes, the empathy deficit. Someone will visit Puerto Rico, take personal credit for a slow relief operation that he claims is fabulous, complain about its cost, and then chuck rolls of paper towels into a crowd clearly begs for understanding. Even from the mountaintop occupied by conservative guru George Will, it's not clear that he sees other people, Will said on MSNBC's Morning Joe on October 4, well before last week's flap over Trump's contacts with the families of soldiers killed in action. There's such a thing as a kind of social autism, that he just doesn't connect with other people. There's no point in saying, well, maybe he'll acquire it. This is not part of his genetic makeup. He's 71 years old. The odd part of all of this is that Trump was elected because at some level, he managed to connect with a lot of people who thought he alone understood the fears and worries. Exploiting fear and telling people what they want to hear is not the same as empathy. It's not what his voters signed up for, but it's what they got.